Right, so tonight on... oh, he's already posing. Disgraceful. This is what you get when you invite Vengapunks onto your show. I'm the one who's pretty, don't you know? Anyway, yes, tonight, or whenever you happen to be listening, it's tonight for me, but who knows when it is for you, on Doyle Band, and as previously discussed on the Mags Off the Fuzzbox interview, it's not Doyle Band, it's just Derek, and it's not really a conversation. But anyway, here's Madge from Syd.31.
I'll do.
And if he ever gets to have a word in edgeways, you know, maybe we can actually find out a few things. So Syd.31, Manchester-based band, and they make a lot of noise. And that's really all you need to know. So thank you for joining us. I'll
Until next time.
So if people want to experience some of our previous conversations, then they can go search JDV Radio. There's some up there, but I suppose this could be a first introduction to you for a lot of people. So I suppose I'd better let you tell people a bit about your project.
I think project is really good.
Because it's not a band.
Well, it's an art project. Ish. I just want to merge a lot of my favourite music and make it loud as noisy as possible.
What's that? You want to murder a lot of music?
I think that's even more appropriate.
Yes, anyway, I'll shut up and let you talk for a bit. Sorry. See, I mean, this is a problem. I for the record, you know, full disclosure, we are actually friends who talk quite a bit, so I feel I can cheek him off where I like now, you see.
You offered me £5 for this. I've never met you before. Anyway, so Syd.31 is a Vengapunk project merging punk rock, hardcore punk rock, extreme punk rock, goth punk rock, horror punk rock with pop and a bit of metal. And it's me doing the vocals, that's my northern accent.
Vocals.
Me doing the vocals, me playing guitar, me playing bass, me playing lead guitar, and arranging all the drums and all the samples and the noise. So that's the studio project. Live, we're a gruesome threesome. I do vocals, Cara Wolf does drums and percussion, and now Shavo plays a mean guitar, and the three of us live just make a horrendous racket, and it's so much fun.
And indeed, the thing is that it has sort of evolved a live lineup a few times from all kinds of different variations that I've played with and booked for my events over the years. But we now seem to have found the ideal formation of the band. But what's most important right now is that you've got a new album coming out on Bad Friday.
Indeed, I don't know if you can see it. It's ooh, look,
product placement. You know, I'm not a big fan of digipacks myself, but you know, there you go.
Boo, boo.
Anyway, so this is the third Syd.31 album I've now experienced in my life. So, what on earth made you want to do another one after the last one? Surely 2 albums is enough.
A lot of people would probably ask me in a threatening manner, it's like, why did you go and do this? I'm a music geek. I can't stop writing music, and I absolutely love it. I wrote this album about 3 to 4 weeks after my other album. I'm just constantly doing it, so I can't stop. You have mentioned my third album. You've heard all 3 albums. Would you like to hear my 4th album? I've already written it.
Yeah, I might as well. You know, let's talk about the 4th album. No, let's. Yeah, so we need to discuss the current album then.
Yeah, Machine Ready. Yeah, let's do that.
Of which there is a video. An eponymous video, in fact, coming soon.
Yes, it's a very nice video of me sitting on a sofa and playing an acoustic guitar with a penny whistle and just sharing my feelings.
Yeah, you just those sort of deep, intimate feelings. You've decided to ditch the rest of the band because your ego's finally got that big, and you feel you can just do it all on your own now. So, no, but tell us about the Machine Ready album. Tell everyone about the wonderful concepts behind it, because I know of them, but other people don't.
There's a lot of thoughts that go into this. As you'll see from the video, there's a lot of imagery in there in the video for reals.
Well, it would be a bit rubbish video if there was no imagery in the video.
there's fire, there's petrol, like there's devil horns, I'm interested in religion and concepts across religion, because I think religion asks us who we are, and science also does that, but we like to think that we are intelligent creatures. We can count to really high numbers. We can build certain things. But when we first came about as humans, we didn't see ourselves being able to count that made us who we are. It's about our soul. And I think in the current age, in the age of artificial intelligence, the algorithms are sort of playing with us now, and they know how to trigger us. We sort of get emotionally gaslit by algorithms. They'll show you you read the news and the first comment you'll see is what the algorithm has chosen to show you, and it'd be a viewpoint that's most opposed to you, or the one that's most likely to trigger a reaction. As you go to bed at night, the algorithms will show you what comments to see, and it'd be from people that you don't really like or get on, or people are a bit dramatic, because it's trying to trigger you and keep you engaged. So Machine Ready is about our new age, a new age that we are going to face, an age of artificial intelligence, algorithms, and technology using our very own soul against us. So are you machine ready? Do you have a soul? It's about being alive and remembering who we are as humans again.
I think you said, like, perhaps the second album was maybe to some extent more autobiographical at times, and now you're just more interested in maybe what's to come.
The Machine Ready albums still has a lot of biographical stuff. Some of the stuff is about things I've gone through, but I'm speaking about human experiences. This one, I'm a lot more observing humans and what makes us fragile. For example, on this one, I've got a song on here called Broken Blank, and it's about a pal of mine at the time, and they decided to stop taking their medication so that they could take recreational drugs, and it led to a complete dramatic collapse of their mental health, and it was really awful to see. Machines will never have a poor mental health. They won't experience things like paranoia or depression, but those things are in a way what still make us human. So I talk about a lot of human experiences like that.
So you feel that perhaps you aren't really thinking that there's ever going to be that kind of fully sentient AI then?
Well, it'll be fully sentient, but it won't.
Well, I mean, if an AI perhaps is fully sentient, then maybe surely it has the possibility of feeling emotions such as, obviously, we clearly got to touch on Blade Runner there. Obviously, there's no sign of AI getting anywhere near that yet. But do you think it might be able to sort of perhaps emulate or fake things just based on what people say? Much as you say, like Facebook and perhaps, or various other social media platforms can perhaps look at what might trigger you. You think that it's almost doing that there?
Well, with regards to the feelings, replicating feelings, I can replicate a feeling. If somebody tells me that they've had a really bad day, and I might have had a worse day, but I don't want to go, well, what about my day? I could replicate going, oh, that's really terrible, no, because it's a way of gaining empathy and a connection with people. And the AI would be very, very good at doing that. I have no doubt about it. But I don't think AI is ever likely to have the feeling of being in a field with 10,000 other people, being sweaty and smelly and dancing to the same beat and feeling that connection. The AI will never really truly appreciate what it is like to have a hug, or like the smell of a newborn baby, you know, things like these. It serves no purpose to program AI to do that, apart from just an absurdity, just to show off that you can. Really functioning artificial intelligence would not need to do any of these.
What we need to look at is perhaps also musically how you've progressed through the 3 albums. I mean, I've actually touched upon more sensitive, softer tracks, and are you progressing to include more of that this time, rather than constant shouting?
I do enjoy the constant shouting. It's very therapeutic and quite cathartic for myself. And I find at gigs, no matter what type of taste of music you are, there's always somebody that has a few beers and loves screaming down a microphone with me. It's what we do as humans. Singing is wonderful, but also going back to our first humans, I don't think we just sat there in caves being nice. We're all beating our chests, banging rocks, shouting, screaming, being as loud and expelling air. And I think, to me, that's a way of connecting with our ancestors in a way, and connecting with that in ourselves. But I don't want to be a one-trick pony. I don't mind saying I think I'm pretty good at doing the angry shouting stuff. I do want to do other types of music as well. On my new album, I've got a dub reggae track, sell out, just reflecting my experiences of growing up in Africa. And I've also got some really pretty Joy Division, new order type stuff. Not just because it's a goth cliche, but I think Peter Hook had a way of writing songs using an instrument that you shouldn't be writing a pretty melody line with, and it's a way of really finding that melody line. So I'm doing that on the new album, and on the 4th album, I'm going even further with that, more pops.
You're doing singing properly. I mean, I suppose Angel 41 was that, but you mentioned, I don't know if the same thing applies to the new album, but you did a little bit of digital manipulation on the voice in that. Is it, on the singing tracks in the new album, did you do them more natural?
On the digital manipulation on the Angel 41, I wanted it to sound otherworldly.
Yeah.
But also, I don't want to just look at the past music and talk about, Joy Division or my favourite punk artists. I'm really interested in contemporary music as well. And a lot of contemporary rappers and rockers, they do use a lot of voice manipulation. It makes it really, for me, sound bleaker and more haunting. There's something about it, like a voice behind a machine. And I really like that manipulation. On the new one, I do have, I suppose if we can call it manipulation, we've got a plugin called Thermal, and it does a lot of effects to your voices. And I found that absolutely a joy to use. I can use, you'll have to see it to experience. I have done a lot of singing on the new album as well. And I have used a trick that was taught to me, and it's how to use auto-tune, but not use auto-tune. And what you do, if you're struggling to hit certain notes, you sing it and you put it through the auto-tune, and then it corrects the pitch. And then you have that as your backing. vocals, almost like it's your vocal tutor. And then you sing clean vocals and you match the autotune version. You keep practicing, keep playing until you can sing what the autotune is doing. And then you drop the autotune and your voice is there. It's a fascinating learning tool.
Yeah,
I use a lot of autotune in a lot of my music because, again, using technology, you get a tool and you do something with it. And if you're just using it as autotune, it's a bit boring. What I use a lot of autotune for is I'll get a sample and say it's in the key of A sharp major. It's a nice little pretty bit. Then I can use autotune like Melodyne, and I can chop it up into tiny pieces, change the pitch, and I can get something that goes do 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 and make it go whom, whom, whom. I can absolutely abuse any note and make it into something completely new. And people won't use tools like this, and then they wonder why they're still sounding not as fat. Autotune, learn to abuse it and bring it in, and you can see what it really does. It smashes everything to pieces, and you can rebuild it. It's not for your for your share songs and your bad rappers.
Use whatever tools are available, but also investigate other ways of using them that aren't necessarily the prescribed way, for sure. You also you tend to have quite a keen interest in using a lot of like ethnic percussion, if you like. That maybe I don't know if it's necessarily exactly appropriate to say, but sort of tribal kind of sound in quite a few things. What inspires that? The use of that, is it, like you say, that sort of connection to ancestors and so forth? Or
absolutely, the thought behind it is connecting to the ancestors. If I had to ask you what was the greatest song ever written, what would you generally have a stab at the dark at?
Birdie Song? Crazy Frog, Axel?
The second best song ever written. What would you have a stab at the dark at?
I mean, obviously it's Body Balanced by Doyle Band,
Okay, third best song ever.
I don't know. It just depends how I feel at the time.
You see those two tracks you've chosen, they're both contemporary. No one of them is yours. They're both contemporary, and they're both limited to a period of time where we have the ability to record instruments. How do we not know the best song ever written by humans was done 30,000 years ago?
Because if it had, it would have continued to exist and still be around today, having been passed down through generations. And that's how the Body Balanced came out.
Not necessarily, because certain tribes and clans and that, humans quite awful. They might have been wiped out in conflict at some point, and they've written the best song. And what did they write the best songs on? The materials. We can revisit the materials that they had. The simple percussion, the simple instruments, things that go twang, clang, and bang. And so I'm really fascinated being able to write songs using those old techniques. Said that pop music, and in particular things like the Venga Boys, have influenced you. So how does pop music fit in with, say, the new album? I'm really glad you asked that, because pop music was my first love. And it will be my life. For most people, pop music is their first music that they fall in love. They probably won't remember being about 2 or 3 years old and a parent will put something on the radio and encourage them to dance along, and they really love it. And before we start getting to cooler bands and the like, listen to a lot of pop. So absolutely, Venga Boys are a huge influence on me. Again, they're pop structures. They're there to make you happy, and they're to bring joy. And they've got an incredible amount of earworms, which we cannot escape. Pop music gets a lot of critique. It's meant to be seen as, oh, it's not real music. I can do something heavy in that. But there's a science behind it. There's a cleverness. And a lot of people writing pop music, they've been to punk gigs, they've passed out at metal gigs, they've fallen over at hardcore rap events. You know, they take all these elements and refine it and do something absolutely wonderful. So the new album has got quite a lot of pop elements in there, especially a lot of Amy Winehouse in there as well, and Hall and Oates, who I've got a lot of time and respect for too.
Perhaps tell people of things that are possibly coming up in a televisual sense.
Yeah, let's hope we don't tempt fate. I'll give the true story on that. We filmed a show for Channel 4, a very famous comedian, and she's got a primetime slot in about a month's time.
Is it Bernard Manning?
Thankfully not. So I'll keep that hush who it is, but you'll see soon. So it's primetime slot, so we should get, all being well, a few million people watching that show. The only difficulty is they wanted a really exciting, dramatic, shocking band, and they got more than what they bargained for. We went through it sort of legally. This is what we're going to do, how we perform. We perform with a lot of fake blood. We do this and do that. Are you fine with that? Like, yeah, great. We shout a lot. Yeah, that's great. And then we got into our costumes before we did it. So this is what we look like. Are you sure this is right for you? And they're like, oh, this is brilliant. We love it. And then when we performed, it became very, very real for them. And I think that sums up a lot of Syd.31 for people. I put a lot of heart and soul into stuff. It's not just theatrics like, oh, we've got a bit of blood in us. Isn't it a bit of fetish? That the blood is there to remind us of the violence we've had to face from the dawn of man. All colours, all creeds, all religions, all genders, all sexual identities, we all bleed the same colour. So when I'm doing that, I'm fighting for everyone, every underdog. And the passion I bring to it is, I think, frightening for a lot of people. For one of them, I swear a bit here, when the cameraman and the crew saw me doing it, they shat themselves, and then we had to stop filming, and they asked us to tone it down, get rid of the blood and stuff like that, and we were like, well, we could say, no, this is who we are, but we thought, like, you know, why not? You know, if this is scary for them, this is outside their comfort zone, why don't we meet them halfway? So we took off a lot of the blood, and we did it again, and I gave full immersive performance in it, and they seemed happy with it. Whether it's come down to the final edit or whether it's like, no, this is too intense for Channel 4, especially pre-Watershed, we'll just have to see. But I have no regrets. When you come to see us, there's nothing soothing about us.
But would you ever do Angel 41 live? I keep annoying you about it constantly. So I'm going to do it yet again. I insist you need to take the risk and do it. You've proven you can do the shouty thing. Now take the chance with something soft.
Yeah. I think by the time I'm ready to do softer live vocals, it probably won't be Angel 41. It'll be something I've written better, because I'm constantly writing music, and it's something I'd probably fall in love with. And something that will mean something a lot more to me in the moment. I will be honest, I've got a couple of half shouty, half spoken word songs which we don't play anymore because we're doing a new set. And one of the last times I did it was at tomorrow's Ghost Festival, so quite a big crowd, big PA.
Yeah. I was there.
And I was talking about what it meant to me, and you can't really see for the makeup. I just burst into tears doing it, and I know if I'm doing something really emotive, I'd do that, and it would make me struggle. So I've got to have a bit more emotional discipline. I don't think anyone noticed, apart from maybe a couple of people at the merch desk that came and had a chat with me, and I was like, yeah. And when people at the merch desk are there, they're going, we loved it, do you want a hug? And we just ended up hugging. It was great. So when I'm doing the vocals, it has to be right, and I have to be able to perform it, not just tunefully, but from the heart.
Get the right feeling there.
Because I mean every word I say. There's no jokes in it. There's theatrics, but what I'm saying is not just for laugh. I mean it.
You want to add that maybe we've not covered?
And
we could talk about your Gretsch guitar. I'm sure you'd love to talk about that for several hours.
I've got my babies in the background. The camera's reversed. I'm doing this all. I've got my Gretsch there. It's the most beautiful sounding guitar. I've got my Fender Precision bass. I mean, both these guitars the bass has been around about 70 years. The Gretsch maybe 75, 80. Classic rock and roll instruments with their classic sound. That sort of Chuck Berry feel to it is what I do. And I do quite a bit of Chuck Berry riffing in my new album, just because rock and roll's great. But any sort of last thoughts on it, have a listen to it. I hope it connects with people. You can see I'm doing something a bit different. Don't be afraid of the noise and the shouting. You get used to it.
Who's afraid of the big band noise?
Who's afraid of the big band noise? There's a variety of different tracks on there, and I'm really pleased with it. It's an album that I've never felt quite as satisfied in my life doing.
And by lots of things, pre-orders are going well for it as well, so that's an excellent thing. Wave it at people again and tell people where they can go and buy it, because capitalism is important. And if there's anything insurrectionary neo-futurists are good at, it's being capitalist pigs, definitely.
It's on Bandcamp, and it'll be available from iTunes as well.
And what Bandcamp is that? I mean, is it on jandoband.bandcamp?
Just chuck in Syd.31 in Bandcamp. All roads lead to Syd.31.
Right, anyway, I guess that's about all we've got time for tonight. So thank you for joining me, and obviously, as ever, wish you best of success, and we know you're going to do well with it anyway, and we've seen clips of the new video, which looks absolutely incredible. So we look forward to seeing the stadium tour once everything's back to normal.
Yeah, I'll be playing the toilets in the stadium while the main band's on.
All right, anyway, thank you very much for joining me for a chat, and we will see each other in the future, all being well.
All being well, because I'm not going to die. I've got my jab. I'm going to survive.
Yes. So which one did you have then?
Bill Gates said I can tell you that it's the Oxford one.
So you might end up with a fever in a few hours' time then.
Yeah, you give me fever. Yeah.
Fever all through the night. That's what you're going to get. Anyway, any other bands you want to quickly mention that are awesome? Doyle Band. Who's good and inspiring right now?
Big shout out to Ward 16, Manchester-based metal band, hard rock metal band. We have more or less all the same influences, but we do something different results. They're very much into their sort of Alice Cooper and Misfits as well. They toured with Doyle. So check those guys out. Absolutely phenomenal. They got a new album, and a lot of places are rated as like the best album.
Things up. I don't know if you've seen what I've written on my chest today, but I thought you might appreciate it.
That is the most punk thing I've seen.
Yeah. Right, anyway, I'll let you go and do something less boring instead. And as ever, obviously, wish you absolute best of success with everything. But we know it's not needed because you're going to be amazing and everything anyway.
Oh, shucks you. And I'll see you around at gigs hopefully very, very soon.
Yeah, all right.
Take care.
Bye for now.